JMJC Radio,
news,
sports,
wrestling,
and much more.
Welcome to Season 1, Episode 12 of JMJC Radio. I am your host, Jeremy Chaput. Today, I want to talk to you guys about WrestleMania weekend, seeing as NXT Stand Deliver is today, WrestleMania Night 1 is today, and then WrestleMania Night 2 is tomorrow. But first of all, on my Instagram, I ran a little something, a daily post on my Instagram story where people could guess my two current crushes, and as a little incentive to get people guessing who my two current crushes are, the winners got a shout out on all my socials, plus an YouTube video, plus on an episode of my podcast. So without further ado, shout out to my good friend Derek, who guessed not only one but both my current crushes. That's right, he guessed both my current crushes. So Derek, shout out to you. Anyways, let's get into NXT Stand Deliver. Now, throughout the episode, I will be telling you how far away each champion is from beating the record for longest champion. First up on the pre-show, we have Shawn Spears versus Joe Gacy. My prediction, Shawn Spears comes out with the win. Next up, we have Ilya Dragunov versus Tony D'Angelo for the NXT Championship, with Ilya Dragunov being the champion going into that match. Now, my prediction is Ilya Dragunov, but my question for you guys is, will Ilya Dragunov still be champion on November 6th, which is 216 days, which is exactly how many days he is from beating Adam Cole for the longest NXT Championship reign? The next match is Obafemi versus Dijak versus Josh Briggs for the NXT North America Championship, with Obafemi being the champion going into the match. My prediction, Obafemi for the win. Obafemi is currently 183 days away from being Wesley for the longest reigning NXT North America Championship reign, which would keep him as champion to October 4th. Now, I don't think Obafemi will still be champion October 4th, but anything could happen. Next match, Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship, with Lyra Valkyria being the champion going into that match. My prediction, Lyra Valkyria. Now, Lyra is 360 days away from beating Asuka for the longest reigning champion, NXT Women's Championship, which would bring her to March 30th, 2025, which I don't think is happening. Next up, we have Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin versus Axiom and Nathan Frazier for the NXT Tag Team Championships, with Baron Corbin and Breaker being the champions going into the match. My prediction, Baron and Braun for the win. They are currently 292 days away from being the Ascension for the longest tag team title reign, which would bring them to January 21st, 2025. I don't see that happening. Braun Breaker right now is working both NXT and on the main roster, so anytime soon he's probably going to drop the titles to somebody else so he can focus on the main roster. The next match, Thea Hill, Fallon Henley, and Kelani Jordan versus JC Jane, Kiana James, and Izzy Dame, with Jasmine Nix in their corner. My prediction, Thea, Fallon, and Kelani for the win. And finally, Carmelo Hayes versus Trick Williams. My prediction, Trick Williams for the win. Now, moving on to WrestleMania XL Night 1. We have Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the Women's World Championship, with Rhea being the champion going into the match. My prediction, Mommy stays on top. Now, Rhea is only 10 days away from beating Bayley for the longest reigning championship, and that includes the SmackDown Women's Championship. So that will probably happen if she wins her match tonight. Next up, we have Gunther versus Sami Zayn for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, with Gunther being the champion going into it. my prediction, Gunther, and we already know Gunther is the longest reigning the longest reigning Intercontinental Championship. Next up, we have the Judgment Day of Finn Balor and Damian Priest versus DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus the Awesome Truth, The Miz and R-Truth versus the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods versus A-Town Down Under of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller versus New Catch Republic of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate in a 6-pack tag team ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, with the Judgment Day being champions going into that match. Now, I have a feeling with Triple H announcing the brand split or whatever, the lottery draft, whatever, coming back up, I have a feeling they're splitting the titles at Mania. So I have a feeling my prediction, R-Truth and The Miz win one set of titles, and then the Judgment Day win the other set. Next up, we have brother versus brother, Jimmy versus Jey Uso. My prediction, Jey Uso. Next up, we have Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi versus Damage Control in Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. My prediction, Damage Control. Then we have Rey Mysterio and Andrade versus Santo Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. My prediction, Rey Mysterio and Andrade. And then finally, for the final match of night one, we have the Bloodline in The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. Where if Rhodes and Rollins wins, all members of the Bloodline are banned from ringside during the undisputed WWE Universal Match Night 2. But if the Bloodline wins, the championship match on Night 2 will be held under Bloodline rules. Now, my prediction for that match, Cody and Seth. Moving on to Night 2, speaking of Seth freaking Rollins, we have Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship, with Seth Rollins being the champion going into that match. But my prediction, Drew McIntyre as the new champion. Next up, we have Io Sky versus Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship, with Io Sky being the champion going into that match. My prediction, Io Sky retains. Now, another question for you guys. Do you think Io becomes the longest reigning WWE Women's Championship? Because that also includes the Raw Women's Championship. She is currently 177 days away from beating Bayley for the longest reigning championship, which would mean she has to hold the title until September 28th. What do you guys think? Next up, we have LA Knight versus AJ Styles. My prediction, LA Knight for the win. Next up, we have Logan fucking Paul, who I fucking hate, versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship, with Logan Paul being the champion going into the match. My prediction, Randy or Kevin. I hope Logan Paul doesn't fucking win again. Logan Paul is currently 372 days away from being Lex Luger for the longest US title reign, which would mean he'd have to hold the title till April 11, 2025. If they have him beat Lex Luger, I'm done with WWE. They only brought Paul in to make money for them. Next up, we have the Pride in Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford with B-Fab versus the Final Testament in Karrion Kross, Akam, and Rezar with Scarlett and Paul Ellering in a Philadelphia street fight match. My prediction, the Final Testament. And finally, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes in a to-be-determined match for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship with Roman's being the champion going into that match. Now, as much as I am a Cody crybaby, we all know Roman is more than likely going to win that match, because as it sits right now, he is 296 days away from beating Pedro Morales for his reign. We are 506 days away from him beating Bruno Sammartino's second reign, which would make him hold the title to August the 23rd, 2025. If they wanted him to beat Hogan's first reign, we are 743 days away from that, which is make him hold the title until April the 17th, 2026. And if we wanted to have him beat Bruno Sammartino's first title reign, we are 2,072 days away from that, which would mean Roman would have to hold the title until December 9th, 2029. Now, like I said, Roman probably wins tonight or on Sunday, but after that, I don't know anymore. Anyways, those are my predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. As my two sayings always go, always shoot your shot before it's too late. And always tell your loved ones you love them, because you never know how much time you have left with them. Thank you guys for listening. Have an awesome day, and I will talk to you next time.